But first, Foreign Minister Penny Wong is doing exactly what Iran's terrorist regime wants. Exactly. I wonder how Wong could be this stupid. I mean, Iran's regime is being smashed. It's now so desperate and reckless that it has been firing missiles and drones into every neighbouring country, most of them Muslim, to make them beg the US and Israel to stop this war. It's fired missiles at Kuwait and Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, at Bahrain and Oman, Iraq and Jordan and Cyprus, one drone hit an airfield there. It's now even fired a missile at Turkey, although America shot that one down. Now, a person who's not mad with hatred of Donald Trump and Israel, a rational person, would say no sane country would do such a thing. I mean, does Ukraine shoot missiles all around Europe to get them on its side? You'd have to conclude that Iran's fascist regime is so brutal and so evil to do this that it can never be trusted with missiles, let alone a nuclear weapon or any military power. And you'd conclude this regime must have that power utterly destroyed. Its missile launchers wiped out, its army broken, its air force destroyed, and its navy sunk. And indeed, a US submarine has now sunk an Iranian frigate off Sri Lanka as it was sailing back to Iran. This regime is so feral, it must be destroyed. Instead, this is what Penny Wong said today.
But I am concerned that the conflict is spreading so much. At some point, there has to be a return to diplomacy and dialogue.
Oh, we've got to de-escalate. That's her favourite mantra. Go back to diplomacy, she says. Negotiation. I mean, who's got to de-escalate and go back to diplomacy? The US? And let Iran then keep whatever weapons and power it has left? And with whom should the US negotiate? With this crazy regime that has negotiated for decades without disarming, just stringing the West along. I mean, this is Wong rewarding Iran and its tactics. This is Wong saying exactly what Iran hoped when it was shooting all those missiles that everyone could reach, not just at Israel and the US, their bases in the Middle East, but at hotels and at the world's biggest airport in Dubai. Whatever, it didn't matter. I saw today, by the way, Canadian journalists accompanying Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney to Canberra. They're just as clueless as Wong.
Why in your first statement did you not call for any kind of de-escalation? In hindsight, should you have called for de-escalation?
By the way, this war started just last Saturday against a major military force in the Middle East. Yet already I'm hearing, are we there yet? Are we there yet? There's some journalists saying it's dragging on, complaining that Donald Trump hasn't said exactly how long it will last, hasn't said exactly what will follow if the regime falls. I heard one TV station say tonight in its news bulletin, the debt of the US and Israel's increasing. Actually, no, that death toll hasn't risen by even one person in the past 24 hours or more. And then there's that idiotic ABC correspondent, of course, John Lyons, who dismissed as political propaganda Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's statement explaining just why he backed America's attack. Honestly, in this desert of insanity, it was so refreshing to hear at least one man of the left, right-wing Labor Senator Raf Kiccioni, let Lyons have it in Parliament last night.
If standing with women beaten in the streets is propaganda, if opposing the execution of protesters is propaganda, if resisting nuclear blackmail is propaganda, then we have lost our moral compass. What is truly political is neutrality in the face of evil. Where were these voices when thousands of Iranians were slaughtered? Where was their outrage when women were dragged from the streets for refusing to cover their hair? Where was their caution when peaceful protesters were executed? This is not principle restraint, it's ideological reflex, choosing slogans over solidarity, comfort over courage, and moral vanity over moral clarity.
Bravo, that man. That is the old Labor Party that I knew and worked for. But let me tell you how this war is really going. In one word, brilliantly so far. Yes, Iran has now fired one missile at Turkey, just one, and it's shot down, and that one missile is not going to drag Turkey and the rest of NATO into this war. And what's more, Iran's ability to fire anything at anyone has now been severely curtailed. The US Central Command estimates Iran is now firing 86% fewer missiles now than it did at the start. One reason for that? Israel reckons that more than 300 Iranian missile launches have now been destroyed already, and the bombing's still going. Now, Donald Trump, meanwhile, claims, well, this attack has stopped Iran from developing a nuclear bomb in just weeks, although that claim strikes me as false or exaggerated.
If we didn't hit within 2 weeks, they would have had a nuclear weapon. If we didn't do the B-2 attack a number of months ago, they would have a nuclear weapon. It's a complete obliteration of their nuclear potential, and that set them back very, very seriously. Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15.
Now, maybe it's even true that, if Iran was weeks from a nuclear weapon, I don't know, but certainly that was what Iran was working for. This regime has shown for 47 years that it is dangerous to its people and dangerous to the world. So pray that it falls soon. But if it does fall, it won't be through the negotiations that Wong demands. It will come only after more bombs fall on its leaders and on their weapons of terror. Until then, Wong should go quiet, because all she's doing now is encouraging Iran's regime to keep firing.